What up? I'm B, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things YouTube drama and current events. Hope you're having a great Sunday today. I know this is not the day that I typically go live, but there was some stuff that happened over the past week that I wanted to kind of chat about and catch up on. Plus, Tuesday, I know I have a really busy day at work and I might end up having to stay late. So I probably will not be going live on Tuesday. I will keep you guys updated on that though. So in any case, I wanted to do a live today, and it's just like I titled it, a drama dump. It is like dumping everything that happened over the past, well, not everything, but a lot of things that happened over the past week, talking about them, sharing my opinions, and hearing your opinions on the topics as well. So if you are in here, say hello, say what's up, tell me how your Sunday is going. We've got Kona Bumble, I am here immediately. Hello, hello. Infinity Unicorns, we've got Courtney. All right, Kaz said, whoa, I got here fast. Hi. Yes, you got here really quick. Let me pop out this chat and move over here so I can see it better. Marty McFlone is in here. Natalia B. Tammy. Hi, guys. Hi, Katie. Hi, Carolee. Oh, it's Monday where you are. Oh, my gosh. I was just talking with somebody on Instagram about how weird it is to have the different time zones, to know like where I'm at, and it's like 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening here, but it's a totally different time for some of the people who watch me. It's so wild. South of Grace, I haven't seen you in a live in such a long time. South of Grace said, OMGB, I made it live while you're here, or while you're live, holy cow. Yay, I am glad to have you guys all in here. Hi, Tammy, Taylor, Katie, Sinead. Tammy said, hello from Nashville, Tennessee. Hi. Oh my gosh, I can't believe Sinead said I won't be staying long. It's quite late. Oh, well, as always, this will be left up. Oh, I wanted to also mention another thing because I saw a few comments about it. Some of you were saying that the live chat replay isn't working, and so I've looked into it, and it looks like for some reason that option, like I cannot select to allow it to replay. Before, it just automatically did it. YouTube's doing something where now you have to select it. I can't select mine, so I have like a back and forth going with the or with a Google support rep. Hopefully we'll be able to figure it out. And so for those of you who will be watching after, I hope that I can get this fixed so that way you can see the live chat as it happens. But as always, every comment I respond to, I will be reading out loud so you aren't completely lost on what is going on. All right, so real quick before we get into it, I wanted to kind of address something that was left in a comment about my last stream. And it was just one comment. I don't know if this person was intentionally misunderstanding me or if they were genuinely confused. And so because I couldn't really determine their intent, I didn't respond to it directly, but I did just want to address it in case there was any sort of question about what I said. In my last live stream, we were talking about, or maybe it wasn't my last live stream, was it? It doesn't matter. In a previous live stream, the one that we were talking about doxing, I said something along the lines of the internet opens up a whole new world of problems for law enforcement because the law hasn't caught up yet, aka there are very few clearly defined characteristics of doxing. The repercussions are not well defined. People who get doxed and have like other internet crimes committed against them have a very hard time getting justice for that because the legal system has not caught up. And so in that sentence, in that little spiel that I went on, that was a criticism of the justice system. So the person who left the comment was, they heard apparently that it was me saying law enforcement lives are hard, when really I said, like, it opens up a whole new world of problems for law enforcement, aka getting justice for people. So it was a criticism. They either heard it differently or misunderstood, and I just want to make it clear that this channel is a place where everyone should feel comfortable and welcome. They also kind of alluded to the fact that it appears to them that I don't support the Black Lives Matter movement, which I think, in my opinion, I've been pretty vocal about the fact that the systematic racism in America is not okay and it needs to be corrected, and I do support the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that I've been pretty vocal about it, but if there was any sort of question, if anybody saw that and they were like, oh, she doesn't support it, like, let me reconsider if I'm welcome here. You are, like, I don't want anyone to see that and feel that way. Everyone is welcome here. Just wanted to clarify it. Now, I'm going to read some of your comments, and while I am doing that, let me know what something good was that happened this past week. For me, it was finding my sunglasses that I thought I lost, that are my favorite sunglasses of all time. They're the only sunglasses I've had since 2017, and I was so sad when I thought I lost them, but I found them, so I'm excited. All right. Kona Bumble said, my Sunday has been pretty boring. Was excited when I saw your tweet about going live. I think a lazy Sunday or a boring Sunday can be a bummer, but it's also kind of nice. Druggy Vibes said, dang, so busy with Black Friday. Can't watch for long. Hope you're having a good day, pretty lady. Thank you so much. Are you busy because you got like a lot of orders on your shop? Because that's so exciting. Hi, Brianna. Hi, Saya. Hi, AWOL. Kona said, yeah, you look extra beautiful in the stream today. Don't know what it is, whether it's the hair or something else in specific. Can't put my finger on it. Thank you. I've been on like a kind of a natural hair journey where I'm trying not to use heat products and trying to like bring out my natural curls. Also, I parted my bangs differently, so it's kind of getting better. Like the curls are kind of coming out. I will like spot correct some of the areas if they're looking real crazy, but they're looking pretty decent, so thank you. Momiji Andre said, hi, I'm Mo. I'm new to the channel, and this is the first live that I'm here for. You look so beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, and Taylor said I applied for university. Ooh, that is awesome. South of Grace said, watching Happy Season with friends and enjoying a sapphic Christmas rom-com. Oh, that's so fun. Brenna said, where did they end up being? And Sinead said, OMG, you found them. So basically, before we left for the trip, like I hadn't been driving anywhere really, like I didn't need my sunglasses, but before we left, I was like, let me get my sunglasses and take them with. This is going to be a quick story. And so I thought they were in the car. I remembered getting them out of the bag because basically we traded in our car and I had all my stuff from my old car in this bag in the trunk. And so I remember looking through the bag, taking them out and putting them in the front of the car. For some reason, weren't there, couldn't find them. I was like, okay, they're gone forever. And then the other day I was getting in the passenger side, and as I shut the door, I heard and I looked down, and I guess they'd just been like stuffed back in the pocket of the door so far that when I just looked in, I couldn't see them. And I felt real dumb, but also real excited. All right, Bridget said, I've almost finished Christmas shopping and almost everything is from small businesses. That's awesome. Madison said, I got all my Christmas decorations put up and I made a giant poinsettia wreath. I am proud about myself. That's awesome. I love having Christmas decorations up, and it's good that you are like done. You got them up. You can enjoy them for the rest of the month. Audrey said, win for the week, finally vacuumed my room. Under my bed was nasty. So I said, I found a new favorite alcoholic beverage, and it's grapefruit. Yum. Marty said, my fiance and I are going to be watching the Great British Bake Off finale and the new Mandalorian episodes tonight. I'm excited to relax. That sounds really fun. Alejandro said, OMG, I finally made it to a live. Thank you, Jesus. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. Juggy Vibes said, OMFG, yes, it's my first Black Friday. I started crying. That's so awesome. I'm so excited for you that people are putting in a lot of orders. Support small businesses. Okay, Mo said, something good is that I spent time with my husband since we have opposite schedules. I work in the morning. He works most nights. Oh, well, that is good that you guys finally got some quality time together. Courtney said, didn't really have a win, but some things have been going through the family that are taking a positive turn, so gonna hold on to that energy. Absolutely. Hold on to the good stuff. Pay attention to that and just hope that more comes through. Brianna said, and my good was that my cat got loose outside and she ran under a hole that's under our trailer. We luckily got her and she's safe and sound now. That's good. Okay. Last two I'm going to read and then we will get into the topics. Moonmaid said my win is discovering B and Emily D. Baker. Thank you. Emily's awesome too, so I'm glad that you're liking. I mean, not that we have any connection, but I'm like, thanks for liking our channels. Thank you for liking my channel, and also I like Emily. And last one, Shazira. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but if I did, please correct me. Said, how thrilling to catch a live after so long without. Salutations, everyone. I'm so happy some people who don't typically get to be in the lives are here hanging out with us. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our topics today. So this is just a really casual live, just have a few thoughts about some things that have happened over the past week or so, and I wanted to chat about them. The first one being Sia's new movie, Music, coming out. And give me a thumbs up emoji if you've seen the trailer or seen any of the Twitter drama going around with that. Give me a thumbs down if you have not. Saya has. Moonmaid, no. Marty said, I have seen it, unfortunately. Kelly SA said, it's so offensive. Okay, we're getting like lots of mixed reactions. So I'll just give you kind of a brief overview of what the trailer is. Not the trailer, but the premise of the movie is that it is about, from what I remember, a former drug dealer who ends up having to take custody of her sister, who Sia never says, like, in her interviews exactly what they're kind of classifying this sister as. It seems that she is nonverbal, maybe is autistic, but essentially Sia says, oh, I never said she has special needs. Well, you have a nonverbal character, so I think it's reasonable to classify this character as a character with special needs. And Maddie Ziegler is playing that character. There's also Kate Hudson and Leslie Odom Jr. in the movie, and it doesn't really give a clear idea of what the storyline is going to be, but it's essentially this, younger sister who is now living with her older sister, and inside she has this musical inner world where I'm assuming she sees outside events through her own lens in very bright colors and songs and dance moves and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people are concerned about two things mainly. The first is that Maddie Ziegler is neurotypical. She does not have any sort of cognitive or developmental delay. She doesn't have autism. She's, a neurotypical person playing somebody who is neuroatypical and then also working with Autism Speaks. And obviously, this isn't the first time that this has happened. We have movies like Radio and Forrest Gump where there are typical people playing characters with special needs. And so Sia's not the first person to do this, but I think a lot of people are kind of upset because it's like, it's 2020. Like, could we maybe be more inclusive and use somebody who is neuroatypical to play that kind of character? So I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Marty said, anybody trying to say they're advocating for people with autism only to work with Autism Speaks is a big yikes from me. Yeah, I have some statistics. I'm sure people who've looked into it will know the statistics, but we're going to go ahead and go over how Autism Speaks spends some of their money. Kelly SA said she's meant to be autistic. Sia worked with Horrible Autism Speaks. Queen of Spade, hi, said, hey B, thanks for your constant integrity and heart in your content. Thank you so much. Katie said, sounds like some ableist weirdness, and of course Maddie Z is in that role. Yeah. I'm glad that we're all kind of on the same page about Autism Speaks. Kona Bumble said, I think she's comfortable with Maddie Z and she didn't want to be upfront about it or try to be more inclusive with other roles. She ended up saying some messed up stuff in retaliation. Yeah, so essentially what the kind of story is that this character is based on somebody who Sia knows and is friends with. And initially there was a character there was an actress who was nonverbal, or she didn't say specifically nonverbal, but she said she hired a actress who was neuroatypical to play this role. And she said that the actress found the environment unpleasant and stressful. And so she stopped being in that role, and now it's Maddie Ziegler. So I'm just not sure whose decision it was to change the casting, if they were trying to make accommodations to make it like a productive and inclusive environment. Additionally, I don't know if there was any sort of issues on the set with the kind of colors and loud music in the dance scenes being overwhelming or overstimulating for this actress. I don't know, but I could see that being a problem. Everybody has their own things that are like an issue or a non-issue. I can only speak from experience of people with autism that I know, and I want to put this out here. Any of my language is not meant to diminish autism or say it's something that can be cured or corrected. I just always grew up referring to my brother as a person with autism. I know that some people prefer to say this person's autistic as opposed to person with autism, because if you say they're autistic, it's just kind of a fact of this is who they are, not something that can be cured. Whereas if you say this person has autism, it sounds like it can be, it sounds like it's something that needs to be corrected. So I'm not trying to use any sort of ableist language or come off that I feel that way. That's just how I grew up talking. So I'm trying to be more aware of it, but I just want to put that out there. So my point, going back to it, was, my brother. So, like bright colors, flashing lights, music wouldn't really bother him, but for some people that could be really overstimulating. And so I don't know if there was a problem like that on set, but I think it's kind of suspicious to me that she put Maddie in that role. I know that she has worked with Maddie in the past. She really does like her, but I feel like there was a different way we could have gone about it. There could have been more effort made to have the set be equitable and have the set be an environment where a neuroatypical actress could thrive in this movie that's going to be really big. This is going to be a massive thing. Leslie Odom Jr. is in it. Like, I don't know if you're like me, but I love Leslie Odom Jr. And I'm also kind of sad. I'm like, man, I'm sad that him and Kate Hudson are in this movie. Why would you do this to us? But on a real note, it's supposed to be like a love letter to the autism community and caretakers of people with autism. But from what I've seen, a lot of people in that community that it's supposed to be a love letter to are like, this just isn't it. So I'm going to see what some of you guys have to say. Marty said, I'm really disappointed in everyone involved, especially Leslie. I was a big fan. I feel ya. Courtney said, I get Sia wanted Maddie in the movie, but like her reaction to people with autism expressing their thoughts on this and how badly she responded just seems like some ableist savior complex BS to me. Yeah, her Twitter responses were so bad. She got immediately defensive, and I kind of feel like everybody responds to criticism differently, but if you are immediately responding just so aggressively and disrespectfully, maybe it hit you where it hurt. Like, maybe there's some validity to those criticisms that you're recognizing and you're feeling defensive because you know you're in the wrong. That's just how I see it. AWOL said that's almost worse. The fact that they tried but didn't try and accommodate the actress is worse in my opinion. Yeah. It just seems odd to me. Obviously I don't know how it happened. I don't know if that actress said, you know what, this is, or communicated that this was too much and she was no longer interested in the role, or how it happened. I don't know. But I do think that it's interesting that there was an actress with special needs or a neuroatypical actress there, and they didn't make it work. Queen of Spades said, it gets to be too much for my child, and she is minorly on the spectrum, but even she finds it too much after a certain amount of time. Yeah, and so everybody's different, you know. There's no one way to have autism. That's why it's a spectrum, because there are so many different ways that it can impact you and affect you, and the way that, like, it impacts your brain. It's a full spectrum. No one person is going to be alike. Marty said, this reminds me of filmmakers who make movies about trans characters and cast cis people, but use the excuse of, we didn't want to trigger anyone for why they cast cis actors. That's what it reminds me of, too. Kaz said, sounds to me like they didn't want to put effort into a genuine message and is just a front for wokeness. Yeah, I tweeted about this, something like, this seems like the kind of movie that people who have silent judgments about autistic people watch to make themselves feel better, to say, no, look, I get it, I accept it, I understand, without ever having to actually connect or interact with people who are different from them. But that's just how I see it. Okay, Yuli said, I think there was an old clip of Sia years ago saying she'd been writing a movie for Maddie. I heard that too, but I couldn't find where it was actually said. So if anybody can find it, definitely send it to me. But I've heard about that. Queen of Spades said, if you were directing a movie and knowing you're using people with disabilities, you could at least accommodate every single person who will be there. Right, like there should have been some kind of plan, some kind of, okay, how do we make this the most productive environment for this actress to thrive? How do we accommodate and make the set equitable? Because it just seems wrong to me that you would cast somebody initially and then claim that they found it stressful and unpleasant and then replace that actress with Maddie Ziegler. Audrey said, let's normalize casting actors whose identities align with the character being portrayed. Yes. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is that the way that Maddie is acting in the way that she is portraying the character in the movie, Sia said that this character was based on one of her friends. And so that could be a spot on representation of Sia's friend, and that's fine. But I think when you're making a movie, just in my opinion, about such a wide spectrum, Sia never said that the character has autism, but it's kind of like, okay, she's probably nonverbal, she's probably on the autism spectrum. That's what we can infer from the trailer, in my opinion anyway. When you're making a movie about something that can be so incredibly broad, the way that Maddie is portraying the character does seem very much like a stereotype. And so while that may be exactly a spot-on representation of Sia's friend, it makes me wonder what that's going to do for the perception of autism as a whole. And I've never experienced this personally, but I've seen a lot of women who are autistic talk about how they kind of have to fight for people to believe that they're autistic. And so it makes me worry about them if they're going to face any sort of further discrimination or further having people tell them, oh, well, you don't act like this, so you're not autistic. It just kind of makes me concerned, because that is a very stereotypical way that people with autism or autistic people are presented in media. So I want to hear what you guys think about it. Evie Morgan said, if the actress was overwhelmed, they could have replaced her with another autistic actress. Right? You know, if it really wasn't, and this actress said, I'm done, I'm good, thank you, but no thank you, it's just the automatic jump to then go to Maddie. It makes me feel like they didn't really have an interest in making it work with the original actress. Kaz said, uh-oh, no actual advisors on what it's like to have autism to inform the actress. Yikes, throw it in the trash. Martin McFlynn said, it's just crazy to me that someone's artistic vision mattered more than the well-being of an entire group of people. Yeah. Kelly said, an autistic actor tweeted at Sia to advocate, and Sia replied that maybe that person was just a bad actor. I saw that. I'm like, oh my, are you for real? Like, are you for real? Audrey said, boys are diagnosed with ASD, if you don't know, autism spectrum disorder, much sooner than girls, and it's because generally girls are more social and do not present in the same manner. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Scarlett's Brain is on Fire said, my 19-year-old daughter has been told countless times, you don't look autistic. It makes her insane. Yeah, and that's definitely a problem, is because a lot of people on the autism spectrum don't have any sort of physical indication. You know, they look like a neurotypical person. And so it's kind of what I've heard it be referred to as an invisible disability, because you can't look at them and see a physical marker that they're on the spectrum. And so I definitely believe it. If girls are typically more social and it takes longer for them to get diagnosed or for to be believed, and they don't look autistic, it's going to be harder for them because they're going to have who they are essentially invalidated, the way that I see it. Queen of Spades said, WTF does that mean? Right, and then Kelsey said, but this goes to the issue with the mental health definition due to being based on white men in general. Yeah. So that's just, I don't know. I wanted to hear what you guys said. I know that Twitter can sometimes be a vacuum where you kind of find what you're looking for. You find people a lot of times who feel the same way that you do. And so I wanted to just kind of talk it out. But I feel like we're all kind of on the same page where it's just like, why would you do this? Why is this your approach to it? And then the other thing about Autism Speaks is I was not able to find what capacity Sia worked with Autism Speaks in for this movie, but they have some kind of connection. Autism Speaks was somehow involved in the production or creation or selling of this movie, and a lot of people have pointed out that Autism Speaks is not the ideal organization to help autistic people or their families. Up until 2016, they had in their mission statement that they wanted to cure autism. They have taken that out, so that's good, but it is concerning when that's kind of the bedrock of your organization. That's just how I feel about it. And then an additional problem is that very little of their money actually goes to resources for autistic people or their families. 1% of their budget goes to family services. 1%. They have one person on their board of directors who has autism. One. Or who is autistic. Sorry, it's unlearning the way that I've spoken my entire time growing up. Yeah, but one autistic person on their board of directors, and 48% of their budget goes to awareness and lobbying, according to their 2018 nonprofit tax exemption form. So they're doing a lot of talking and putting themselves out there, and look, we're this organization, pay attention to us, but then you have 1% of their budget actually helping the people that this organization was created for. It just doesn't sit right with me. And I did put the link to where I got this information. It's from autisticadvocacy.org. So I put a link to that in the description if you wanted to read a little bit more, because they do also give you some other organizations that might be a better candidate if you are looking to make a donation. And they give you some additional info about kind of the way Autism Speaks spends their money and what their focus is actually on. Courtney said, autism speaks are very much the your child is a burden, you're a hero for dealing with them. Yeah, that's how it is. Like, that's how they present it. That's just how it is, you know? Like, that's just how they present. Not saying that, like, what they're saying is right, but that's just how they are. That's how it is that's how they present their approach to autism. Kelsey said, I believe it. All my friends with different disabilities, including autism, ADHD, etc., have coping issues. Katie Hanshaw said, awareness. Audrey said, Autism Speak should be rebranded. We speak for those with ASD, even when they disagree. Oh my gosh. Marie M. said, rich people trying to spread awareness is so weird. Either they misrepresent the bigger picture or they do silly things like the ice bucket challenge, the image thing for COVID, or the imagine thing for COVID, LMAO. That ice bucket challenge. Did people even, like, I mean, I guess it raised awareness for ALS, for Lou Gehrig's disease, but, like, the whole point got lost. The whole point was donate money to research this, not pour a bucket of ice on yourself. And I will admit, when that happened, I said, yeah, I'll pour a bucket of ice on myself, and I did it. But I didn't grasp the real message of, this isn't about raising awareness. This is about, we need to put money into worthy causes. So donate the $10 anyway, even if you dump the ice bucket on your head. Scarlet's Brain is on Fire said, autistic adults loathe Autism Speaks. They love to make parents martyrs and not actually focus on those with autism. Yeah, I've heard, like, they put out this PSA about autism, essentially saying that, like, families who have somebody with autism in their family, it's just basically this devastation, and it's going to, like, take down the quality of your life, and it's gonna be so hard. And what? I mean, sure, when you like, if you're a parent and you have a kid and you find out that they are on the autism spectrum, there might be a sense of, okay, well, how do we deal with this new reality? Like, do they need any sort of therapy? Will they have other medical issues? Like, stuff like that. It's definitely a processing thing. Just kind of coming to terms with figuring out the best treatment for your child, or not treatment of autism, but for any other issues that they may have. Again, I'm speaking experience from my brother because he is on the autism spectrum, but he has other disabilities, and so I'm trying to be very careful with my words. But in my parents' case, it was, your child is born, they have a medical emergency immediately, and they have childhood epilepsy, and they're on the spectrum. And so in their case, it's coming to terms with other treatment options if they need therapy, other medications that maybe need to be included in daily life, stuff like that. And so it's definitely a transition time of figuring out something new, but it's not like your world is coming to an end, which is really what Autism Speaks makes it seem like for a lot of people. Audrey said, I didn't even know what was going on with the ice bucket challenge, honestly, because the message got so convoluted. It really did. It, like, the whole point of it got lost in people having fun and, like, pouring ice on their head. Evie said, I watched Adam with my mom last night, which I know has its own issues, but right when it ended, she brought up how hard it would be to date someone with Asperger's. I feel like portraying... I think you have disability well is complicated because sometimes people get the wrong message. Yeah. And there's not just one way to have a disability. Kona said, I only vaguely remember the message because my mom donated $10 after she did it. Props to your mom, Kona. Scarlet's Brain is on Fire said, it's not an easy life, but we need organizations that help fund therapies and make social changes. Absolutely. Uli said, are your DMs open on Twitter? I found the clip there and I could send it to you. Yes, they are. Audrey said, there's no cure for autism, but there is treatment, and a diagnosis doesn't diminish the person's value. Absolutely. Nanashi said, I work in tech/software development, and quite a few of my coworkers are on the spectrum. Sure, there are some issues sometimes, but they're all as much functioning adults as I am. Exactly. And that's, again, going back to one of my criticisms of the movie is this is a very stereotypical way to portray someone with autism. And so people who don't know other people with autism, or they don't do research, or they don't look into things like understanding the autism spectrum disorder, how it's a spectrum and there's not one way to have it, they're going to have this false idea of what autism looks like, which can in turn make it harder for other people with autism to be, I don't want to say be taken seriously, but to, I don't know the word I'm trying to use, to advocate for themselves, because people are going to look at them and say, well, you don't look like this person, so do you really have autism? It's just kind of a confusing message. Sarah said, there's a lot of dirt on Autism Speaks. It's just hard to believe that someone who is really listening to the autistic community would support Autism Speaks. And my brother has Asperger's, and he's like the best person in the world, in my opinion. Yeah, the part where you said it's hard to believe someone who is really listening to the autistic community would support Autism Speaks, that. Sia said she did so much research, and she's done so much digging and looking into it, and she's done so much, like, she spent the past 3 years doing this. But if you don't know that there's an inherent problem with Autism Speaks, I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. Marty McFlone said, my family and I did Ice Bucket Challenge as well as donating, but my family and I won the genetic lottery. Lots of us with ALS, scleroderma, etc. We've been advocating all our lives. Well, I hope that at least the challenge raised some awareness and brought in some donations, so that way there was more research and more attention on things that not a lot of people care about, or not a lot of people are aware of and look into. So hey, maybe donate to a charity or an organization that does research for genetic disorders or other mental illnesses, disabilities, stuff like that. If you're watching this, maybe we should all take a pledge to donate $10 if we can. Kaz said, Sia typed in autism on Google search once. People embellish the research they did without showing documents or proof, are usually lying through their teeth. Miku said, this movie is going to give the same outcome as other movies such as Split, also known as the movie of split personality, which gave people false facts on how DID people actually are. Split, from what, I saw it, and to me, I was like, this seems far-fetched. Like, this seems like not a real thing that's, like, that actually happens with people who have dissociative identity disorder. But I've heard that it caused a lot of problems because a lot of people got the idea from Split that it was like, oh, this is what people who have DID are like. We just gotta do better. Like, we gotta make sure we are talking about these kinds of portrayals of certain things and of certain communities, and make it known that these outlandish portrayals or generalizing is not okay, and we shouldn't support the movies, we shouldn't watch them, and we don't want people to have a misinformed idea of what something looks like because it was in a movie. Darnellville, hi, you said, hey, am I late? We're getting to kind of the end of the discussion of Sia's new movie, so a little bit, I think I've been on here for 38 minutes, so you're a little bit late, but we're about to move on to another topic. I'll read a few more of your comments. Ooh, Rachel said the Ice Bucket Challenge actually raised around $220 million worldwide. Did it really? Whoa. That's good. I don't know anybody who did it and donated, so I just kind of assumed, like, we're all just kind of pouring the ice on our head. But if it raised that much money, that is insane. That's awesome if it did. Courtney said, 2020 plot twist. Maddie's character doesn't talk because she had laryngitis during filming. Not true, but considering how tone deaf it seems, I wouldn't be shocked if autism was an afterthought to Sia. Oh gosh. Brianna said, I used to really think that Autism Speaks was fine until I got educated by watching Stephanie Bethany's videos on Autism Speaks. I'm glad that I'm educated now. Yeah, and if you don't know, you don't know, but there's plenty of people talking about it, so it's good that we are talking about it and saying, hey, there are plenty of other good organizations that are a better candidate for our support monetarily and like social media wise, saying, hey, like, look at these organizations, support them, spread the word about them, as opposed to Autism Speaks. Darnellville said, hey B, if we were talking about Sia, I was very upset. As someone who is non-neurotypical, I was mad. Yeah, I'm upset, or not upset, but I'm bummed that you came in at this point, because we just got done talking about Sia, but of course this will be up after if you want to hear the full conversation. But we're all kind of in agreement and in support of the criticism that this movie is getting. The fact that she's got Maddie Ziegler playing the main character, and she's working with Autism Speaks, does not sit right with us. But we are going to move on to a less important. It's a less important topic. It's a bit of a lighter topic, but it is drama that happened from the past week. And we're going to be talking about Alex James's video on Gabby Hanna. It does feel kind of goofy moving on to that after we've had such a deep and nuanced discussion. But I wrote notes for it, so we'll move on to it. But I do definitely want to thank you guys, even before we move into that topic, for having this really well thought out, respectful conversation, and for participating in talking about something like this that does matter a lot. So thank you guys. But now that we've gone over the heavy, the dark stuff, the really, really serious, important thing, move on to YouTube drama. So, Alex James, he took a 9-month break from YouTube, and then last month he came back, and he was posting about a new boyfriend that he had, and then on November 17th, so just over a week ago, he posted a video called Gabby Hanna, Stop Lying, and he basically just gave his response to Gabby's video from 6 months ago, where she gave her perspective in what happened with her and Alex James and kind of why the friendship fell apart. So give me a thumbs up emoji if you've seen it, a thumbs down if you have not. Saya said, I learned a lot. Good. And Marty said, this feels like a safe space for these kinds of kinds of discussions. Thank you. I'm glad that it does. I'm glad so many people feel safe sharing and feel like this is a place where they can openly talk about things. No matter what kind of discussion it is, anything serious, I really love how open and respectful and just honest people are. So I love that people feel like they can do that on my channel. It means a lot to me. Okay, so again, we've got lots of mixed reactions, yes and no's. So, briefest way I can go over it is basically Alex saying that everything that Gabby said in her video about him was essentially false. He did respond to a lot of the criticism he got for saying that he could slap the wig right off of her. I definitely was not happy that he said that. I think Alex James has a fun personality. I don't watch all of his content, but if a video comes up that looks interesting, I'll watch it. Overall, I like him, but when he said that, I was like, that's a little bit too far. Obviously, I didn't think he was going to fly to LA and slap Gabby Hanna. But just saying that is just a step, like, it crosses a line. He is like, it's a metaphor. It's like, I could slap the wig right off of you. I could slap the fakeness right off of you. It wasn't serious, but I still think it was a bad choice in words. Saya said it felt misogynistic when he said that. Yeah. Oh, you guys are talking about Daniel Prada. I don't know. I haven't seen what Daniel said. But in any case, yeah, he kind of defended it. Essentially, he didn't apologize for it. He also said that when Gabby told her audience she had reached out to him privately, that was a lie, because in the screenshots she showed, you can see the person saying this is the wrong number. And so basically, she had been reaching out to Alex because she went on oh my gosh, what is her name? The dancer. I think her name's Megan. Why don't I know this? She went on the podcast of another influencer, Megan Batoon. That's it. Thank you so much, Scarlett's Brand is on fire. I was going to say Megan Rinks, and I was like, definitely not Megan Rinks. Megan Batoon's. She went on Megan's podcast and said that Alex was essentially a really bad person, but she didn't say his name. She did, however, talk about how she had this friend who flew out to Pittsburgh, picked her up, and they drove across country, and he moved her out to LA, essentially, because he was like, you gotta be in LA. And Megan's like, oh my gosh, it's a cool friend and story. Gabby said, oh my gosh, no, actually, he's a terrible person. On a public podcast. And so she reached out to who she thought was Alex, apparently, but it was not, to try and apologize. And he was like, look, that's the wrong number. You have my new number, but also, why are you going to apologize to me privately over something that happened publicly? Like, you should do it publicly, because that's where it happened. I did see a comment from Marty said, I kind of agree with Angelica Ole's comment that him releasing this video so long after the actual drama feels weird, though I also don't have a lot of trust in Gabby, so yeah. So I have like mixed feelings on it for sure, because Gabby's video was delayed, and so it happened like after the initial drama that she was responding to happened, definitely. And then for him to come, what that happened in May, so for him to come like 6 months later and talk about it is odd. He did leave a comment on his video, though. He was saying, we're in a pandemic, we're having a lot of issues with the justice system in our country, Black lives are being needlessly lost, and so I didn't have an ounce of energy to give to this, and so I said I would address it, but not on anybody else's timeline. That's why I'm doing it now. Whether that's genuinely why it took him so long, or if he just, I don't know, wanted to wait so he could stir it back up, I don't know. I don't know what his intentions were, but it is kind of odd that it took such a long time. AWOL said, I think the bathtub thing was over the top. Like, she obviously filled the bathtub thing was her, so it's not like she can say it traumatized her. Audrey said, I'm sorry, I just think the whole friendship was toxic and a mess, and why did they keep needing to drag all of their business into the public eye instead of just talking privately? Because they're YouTubers, obviously. Courtney said, Megan is Gabby Hanna's friend, though. She could have just cut it out if she actually regretted it. That part. She could have taken it out if she really didn't want it to come out. Chrisick said, it just is a lot, and that sounds moderately understandable, and gotta see how it plays out, I suppose. Yeah. Katie said, Gabby is ridiculous and I don't care for her. I think her shadow ban conspiracy is a consequence of her just not being very interesting or talented, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, she said she had proof that the shadow ban was happening, and as soon as she, got the okay from YouTube to share the proof, she would, but we still haven't seen anything, and she's no longer complaining about it, so I'm like, okay. All right. So, similar claim, or not similar, but the other claims in Alex's video included the following. That Gabby tried to get in close with one of Alex's best friends and talk smack about him to this friend, who then turned around and told Alex everything that Gabby had said, essentially saying that Alex told her she needed to lose 15 pounds and get a nose job, which he claims he never said, and she baited him all the time to try to get him to say that, but he never did. That Gabby went to therapy because she hated Liza Koshy and no longer wanted to hate her success, not because she was traumatized from the whole ghost in the hotel incident that when they did the prank call where Gabby pretended to be Alex's hacker and essentially made him say that he hated himself and was a terrible person, or else they were going to release all of his personal info. When Gabby pulled that prank, he was not laughing, he was not joking, and he was pretty upset. Whereas Gabby said he was mad that she didn't end up posting the video because he thought it was hilarious, which I don't buy for a second. Alex has released videos of him kind of going through that and being on the phone with Gabby pretending to be the hacker, and it seems pretty serious to me, so I definitely believe him on that one, but that's just me. And also that Gabby claimed she was having a breakdown after, like, during her high school effing bullies outburst, like that was her having a breakdown, and she later said that. And so he's like, if you said something during a breakdown that you only said because you were having a mental breakdown, maybe you should address it later, because you made all of these claims against us, but now you're saying that that was in the midst of a mental breakdown and maybe not how you truly felt. So you said a lot of things about a lot of us, and maybe you should address it, essentially. Siobhan said, I'm surprised he waited so long, but nothing he said was off-brand for Gabby, honestly. Right. The timing was definitely off. I didn't like it. But a lot of the things that he said, I was like, okay, like, this doesn't surprise me. This sounds like I would believe somebody who said this about Gabby. Druggy Vibes said, honestly, seeing how she is, I'll wait to special in the beginning. It'll be more drama and she'll make it worse. Yeah. Saya said, the Liza thing crossed a line for me too. People go to therapy for multiple reasons. Gabby could have talked about Liza and Alex in therapy. He did it to cause a ripple effect. Yeah, for me, I don't think he should have said that. Even if it's true, even if the only reason she went to therapy was because she didn't want to hate Liza Koshy anymore, if that's true, he could have just said, she knew that I was faking. She knew it was a joke, because he talks about how YouTubers like play off of each other. He's like, you're on. Like, when you are together, you are making content, you are on. You play off the energy of that other YouTuber so you can get the best content. I fully believe that. So if Alex knows for a fact in his mind that he's not the reason that she went to therapy, he could have just said that. He didn't have to put it out there, because that's a whole other problem that doesn't need to be brought into this. And you shouldn't share things, especially related to mental health and therapy, that are not yours to share. Chrisick said, it's just annoying how she stays being in drama, but then people also drama her in drama for views. They really do. Like, it's just going to be how it is. She's always going to be in drama because she brings it on herself, but also when other people have beef with her, it gets so many views. It gets a lot of people talking about it. Darnellville said, in my opinion, Gabby is fame hungry and is childish. I think, oh my gosh, sorry, the comments are coming in. I think Ol looked like a calculator the way Alex looked like a calculator the way he planned the comeback 6 months ago. Odd, but okay, I guess Gabby was dead wrong for that prank. That prank was ridiculous. That's so far. I don't know how you would think that that would be funny. I really don't. I'm glad she didn't end up posting it, because that would be horrifying. Courtney said, I hope Gabby Hanna doesn't try and stir it up on her end and justify her music videos not doing well, because his video came out 2 weeks after the last one, and she always seems to have to want to have the last word. Yeah, at least this wasn't like coming out on the same day as one of her music videos, because then that would propel her narrative of other people are always trying to derail me. Taylor said, I also think the whole hating Liza thing is quite untrue. It sounds like the most cliche thing to lie about. Marty said she's the sun in a universe of drama, and these people are the little dramatic planets orbiting her. Yeah, like that whole situation is just full of toxicity, no matter how you look at it, like no matter who you support, because the thing is, like, whether you believe Gabby or you believe like Alex, Jesse Smiles, and Jen Dent, like no matter what side of that you're on, they're both fueling the fire. And so I don't know if it's going to take both parties saying, you know what, like we're sick of this and we are done, or if there is some kind of resolution they can come to if one of them really is the bad guy, or if they both messed with each other and hurt each other and they just refused to let go of it. I don't know, because it was like the prime of their careers when this thing happened, and so they don't want to move on. I have no idea, but from an outside perspective, it's like this does not seem like there can be an agree to disagree or like a peaceful resolution where everyone's just kind of chill with each other. I think they have to commit to just not talking about each other and not engaging in any content surrounding each other in order to move on. Because people are very emotionally invested in this and they'll watch it go for as long as it will. Courtney said, Alex said that video was his last word on the drama to do with Gabby Hanna, and a lot of his stands seem to be swarming around Hello Leash and Jen Dent, so yeah, I watched a video. I think Hello Leash has definitely kind of gotten into something that was maybe a lot more than she thought she was going to be getting into, because I saw one of her most recent videos talking about how Gabby Hanna stans are allegedly like doxing people, and they found Hello Alicia's personal email address and like signed her up for a bunch of subscriptions, and so she got like 50 emails confirming her subscriptions, which is just wild to me. If that's happening, Gabby needs to denounce that as soon as possible, but she's definitely kind of gotten in with Jen Dent, I think, and it's just gonna keep going. I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter about it. Taylor said, Alex, I feel, is so shady. He tried to bash Gabby over the Curtis situation, which was none of his business when there was no proof of it happening, but he lived with him after the TMZ article. Yeah, that's something that doesn't sit right with me. I get, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how we feel about it. What matters is how Jesse Smiles feels about it, and Jesse's obviously forgiven Alex, so that's the last word on it. But I think it's a lot deeper. I think it's a lot more than just about the Curtis Lepore, like, interacting with or being friends with him after the TMZ article came out. And he really did try to drag Gabby for it, but in my opinion, from an outsider's perspective, I don't know how much room he had to talk. Marty said Gabby's fandom seems terrifying. It seems like a lot. Chantel said, how late am I? You're pretty late. I'm so sorry. You're pretty late, though. We're going to be wrapping it up pretty soon. Oh my gosh, we're at 58 minutes. Yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up pretty soon. Audrey said the best thing for that girl's psyche would be to just leave the internet. She isn't cut out for the spotlight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She said that she takes everything really personally, and sometimes being on the internet isn't the best for her mental health, which I think anybody who's been on the internet for a long time can probably relate to that. I'm sure they've all hit some point where it just feels like too much, or the pressure's a lot, or they hit that kind of creator burnout. But it does seem like it's definitely been more of an issue for her of, I don't know if it's the pressure or the feedback, or maybe her making things worse in her own head, thinking that like people hate her when most people are just kind of like, we're not your biggest fans. So I don't know, but I just hope that mentally, like, she's doing whatever is best for her. Alejandro said, thank you. Everybody keeps ignoring Jessie and how she feels. That's really all that matters is, in terms of Curtis and who was friends with him and who spoke to him and what connection they had with him. Like, we can place our judgments all we want, but Jessie was there. Just like Jessie was the person most heavily impacted by that situation because she was the victim of assault. So her opinion and who she chooses to forgive is her choice, and we don't have to understand it. As frustrating as it may be, it's not our place. Christic said, would be nice if people would respect others' forgiveness when it's none of their business. People live through influencers, and it's a lot. Yeah, definitely. Kona said, well, hell, Leash continues to make content on Gabby after having a personal involvement with her. Not gonna lie, it makes Leash's content on Gabby Hanna biased. Yeah. I don't keep up with a ton of Hello Leash's stuff, but that video got recommended to me, which is why I watched it. But if she is talking about Gabby, I think it does kind of give a tilt on what she says. And honestly, as much as it may not be her intent, it is going to fuel the fire. We know that Gabby Hanna stans are like diehard for Gabby, and they will do whatever they think they need to do in order to defend her or get her approval. And so Hello Leash continuing to talk about Gabby is adding fuel to that fire, which, like I said, might not be her intention, but it's just the fact of the situation. So you have to determine how willing you are to fight that and to fight past it and say, you know, I want to talk about this and I want this kind of behavior to stop, so I'm going to keep pushing forward. Or if it just gets too much at some point to where you want to say, let me just take a step back from this. Marty McFlone said, like, I'm obsessive compulsive and sometimes my invasive thoughts are things like everybody hates me, but I understand that's a me thing that requires therapy. Come on, Gabby. Yeah. I mean, she has said that she knows that she thinks this way and she catastrophizes everything. So, for me, I don't know what it's like to think like that. I don't know how it feels to have that constant worry of, oh my God, everybody hates me, like nobody likes me. The way that she has said that she thinks and the way that she talks to herself in her head. So I don't know what that's like, but I know that there are a lot of people who kind of deal with that sort of same thought process, who understand that they just have to work on it and they can't let it affect the way that they respond to criticism from others and outside situations. Kona said, we know how the internet works, we know how cause and effect works, and she's just being stubborn. Could be. Bridget said, Leash is trying to move away from Gabby Hanna, but this recent situation is something she felt needed addressing, all according to her, obviously. Audrey said, can we just not stand problematic people anymore? Your admiration has evolved into delusion. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the word problematic people because I think everybody has traits that like make them problematic. But I think we should take a look at people's history of behavior and say, you know, if somebody is constantly involved in a problem or constantly causing drama, we need to draw a line and say, we don't want to support you. But everybody has things that are bad about them. Not bad. Everybody has flaws. It's like Jenna Marbles said, you know, everyone says I'm the unproblematic fave, but that's just not true, and that's a lot of pressure. Everybody has flaws, and no one's like a perfect person to look up to. Zoe said, I don't know what her latest videos on Gabby are about exactly. Like I said, I had to stop watching her. It's been months at this point. I did watch her video with that fan who turned out to be lying. That was a crazy situation. That was a wild situation. Marty said, everyone on the planet is problematic except dogs. Dogs are perfect. Maria M. said, I wonder how many stans Gabby really has, though. Her podcast gets like 10 to 20,000 views. That doesn't seem like a lot for her, but that's still a lot of people. If 10 to 20,000 people are watching her podcast episodes, that's still a lot. Chrisick said, we should not forget history and stop the BS when it starts and stop enabling/paying people to, like, I don't know, continue being malicious. Lines must be drawn. Absolutely. People can move on, they can correct their behavior, they can improve as a person. But if they're not, we gotta draw a line. All right, so that is pretty much gonna be it. That's kind of it for the Alex situation. We just hit an hour and 4 minutes. I saw somebody comment, quick, end it before the connection issues start. So I'm gonna do that. The last topic I wanted to talk about was just kind of exploring Petty Paige's new shop, Dramatic Boutique, or her new cosmetics line. I'm just kind of going to briefly go over what it is. According to the website, it is the world's first beauty and cosmetics company completely funded by, or they didn't say completely, they said funded by sex work, which I do think is a really cool thing. Paige did lose a lot of brand deals after she started her OnlyFans, and that is kind of discrimination, kind of. I mean, it is like, I get people can have like ethics standards for their own brands, but it just seems odd to me that they would make that decision. Companies have their own, like, they have a choice. They can choose who to sponsor and who not to sponsor, but I don't think that was kind of a surprise when Paige did that, because Paige did sex work in the past, according to her, before she started her YouTube channel. And so it shouldn't have been a shocking thing to some of the brands that she was working with that she did this. You know, it just seemed odd to me that she lost sponsorships and partnerships with other businesses. But I think it's cool that she flipped it and made it into something where it was like, okay, I'll read the about us. So it's, oh yeah, Zoe said, Paige's intro song used to literally be "Once Upon a Time I Was a Hoe." Why are people shocked? Right? Like, it's like, once upon that time not long ago, I was a hoe and I'm admitting it. Can't take it back because I did it. Like, and you're surprised that she's engaging in this business venture? Really? That just shows you sometimes, like, how little brands actually look into the people that they, like, form relationships with. Not that I think them disconnecting was right, but it does show, like, sometimes when when brands support other problematic influencers, it's like, you really don't look into this, did you? Or do you? So from their website, it says, after losing brand deals and endorsements following her decision to join OnlyFans, Paige decided she would no longer allow anyone to tell her what to do with her body. So with the money she saved from OnlyFans, she put it all into an idea that she would never be censored again. Whether you're putting makeup on your face or twerking around the pole, whatever you do with your body is your choice, period. She started this movement with her first product and palette, No More Nudes. After struggling with her weight for years, Paige has always tried to embrace her body because she understood all too well what it meant to lack confidence and feel uncomfortable in the skin she was in. Once she learned how to feel every bit of beautiful she is, she knew she had to help others get there too. That's why she has so fiercely encouraged everybody to embrace every curve, every roll, every part of their body, and those who attempted to love themselves unconditionally would be regarded as DB royalty. We only get one body. Whether you have fillers, a butt lift, and are overweight, or whether you have fillers and a butt lift, are overweight, conventionally pretty, or a unique beauty, our lives are too short to be hung up on what others think of you. You only have one body, no replacements, no refunds, no exchanges, no returns, so live in it. And I love that. Like, I think that the palette is really pretty. It's super colorful. I don't do a ton of colorful makeup. I don't typically wear makeup. So I won't be purchasing it, but I think the packaging, like the component that it comes in, the colors, they're really cool and really beautiful. Darneville said, okay, so I never knew I needed to hear you say the word hoe before B, but here we are. I'm living for it. Yes, queen. Yeah, I don't typically say a lot of, I don't even think that that's a risque word, but keep it pretty PG in terms of language choice. So maybe that was a surprise to hear. Audrey said, discrimination against sex workers is the reason that so many are at risk and are the victims of violent crimes at such an increased rate. And it's also the reason that when crimes are committed against them, a lot of times police officers won't investigate or won't do their job. Detectives won't actually take the crimes seriously or take the victim seriously because they're sex workers. We talked about this a lot when I did a lot more. Okay, I gotta rein myself back. But we talked about this a lot when I talked about more true crime stuff on my channel, about the concept of the less dead quote unquote, which typically includes the developmentally or cognitively delayed, people in sex work, people of color, and people who are addicted to drugs or suffer with a drug problem. Those like 4 categories of people are typically considered the less dead by law enforcement institutions, and crimes against them do not get as much attention as, say, a crime against a pretty white blonde girl would. So it's a pervasive problem, and the discrimination needs to stop. So I love that Paige made her own cosmetics line. It looks really pretty. She made lashes, lip glosses, and an eyeshadow palette. So I hope that her launch went super well. It happened yesterday. I hope she sold lots of products and that they are fulfilled seamlessly and smoothly, and that everything goes well and continues to go well with her company. So I'm going to read some of your comments, and then I'm going to dip out before we get those connection issues. As always said, I used to love singing that every time I watched a video of hers, and I've slept with a grand total of 2 people, including my wife. I know, I love that song. I like always dance along to it, and I think she included like a little snippet of it now in her new intro. So I just love like hearing the throwback of that song. Chrisick said, exactly, Audrey, sex work should never have been criminalized. Absolutely. Marty said, I'm very tempted to get the palette because the design is so cute and I love super colorful palettes, but I'm waiting for reviews first. Yeah, that's a good idea. It is a new company, and I hope that it does way better than a lot of other influencer created companies. Fingers crossed. Cookie and Cosmetics, anybody? I don't think it's going to be like Cookie and Cosmetics, but, you know, it is a new brand. Let's see how it goes. Zoe said, a crime is a crime regardless of who it happens to. Every crime should receive the same response and investigation. Absolutely. 100%. Sarah said, Paige's message is really sweet and empowering, even if it's for money. I mean, I think a lot, like, she created a company, obviously it's for money, but I don't think there's anything wrong with doing something to make money. I think if you do it with integrity and you do it with the care needed to provide your customers with a quality product, and, you know, in as a response to that, like in return, you make a profit, I think that's great. And I think it is good that it has like a good message behind it of embrace yourself, love your body, don't let anybody else tell you what to do. Moonmaid said, OMG, Cooking and Cosmetics gave me flashbacks. Marty said, I do have a lot of confidence in Paige compared to some other influencers because she seems to have a real passion for makeup and supports other indie brands. Yeah, I hope so. And she has like a close relationship with Juvia's Place, so maybe the what's her name? I think it's Chi-Chi. I don't know. The founder of Juvia's Place, though, they seem to have like a good relationship, so they sponsor a lot of her content, and so maybe she acted as a bit of a mentor in terms of getting labs and stuff like that, which would be really great. Marty said, we all gotta eat, get your money. Absolutely. Alright, so, oh man, people are talking about stuff popping off with Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Oh, we do not have time to get into it. I'm going to have to go ahead and end the chat because I know I will go off on a full-on tangent if we talk about Katie. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. Zoe said, like, I'm not working for fun. Right? What do you mean? But in any case, I'm ending it here. Thank you so much for showing up on a Sunday and hanging out with me. I know this isn't my typical day, and if you weren't here at the beginning, I might not be here on Tuesday because I have a long day at work. Super fun. But I'll keep you updated. I might be able to get everything I need done on Tuesday, done in a reasonable manner, and if I can, or in a reasonable time, and if I can, I'll pop on a live. But if not, we'll shoot for Thursday. Thank you so much for being respectful of the topics of conversation, for engaging, and for sharing your own personal stories and experiences. I really appreciate you, and I love that this is a place that so many of you feel that you can be open and have those conversations. So please subscribe or like the video if you liked it and you want to join us for future discussions. If you're subscribed already, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.